We got a little friend here. Hello.
Hello.
It's a beautiful day in the forest. Welcome back to the creek.
Welcome back.
We've got some good stuff today planned. To start off with this verse, and maybe you can decipher what we're talking about. This is Matthew 19, 23 through 24. And Jesus said to his disciples, "Truly, I say to you, only with difficulty will a rich person enter the kingdom of heaven. Again, I tell you, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God." It's a lot to unpack there. And we have a thought here. Christians who want to build wealth and take the steps to do so are met with this and other Christians claiming it's wrong to do so, or it's the wrong mentality to have if you want to be true to the faith and make it to heaven. I think that what's being talked about here, the rich person, it's not just somebody that has wealth. It's a mentality about the wealth they have, and it's almost like that is the most important thing to them, is the richness, the wealth that they've generated or inherited, whatever it might be.
Yes.
And it's a slippery slope, as are many things in our life. Anything can lead you astray and be idolized. So at the end of the day, you got to make sure if it's whatever's in your heart, if you feel like it's standing in the way of you, and if it's like the main thing you're thinking about, maybe you need to be like that rich person that Jesus met and said, "Sell all of your belongings and follow me." And if that, the interesting thing about that sort of call to a person with that level of wealth to sell everything and dedicate your life to Christ, I feel like if you were to honor that, you would receive back more than you gave away, because now you are this. You're playing into the gift that you have, and you're beginning that cycle of receive and bless. And as long as you're doing that, you're going to keep being blessed by whatever means you're generating that wealth with in the first place.
Wasn't this in the Book of Kings when Elijah was training Elisha, I think? Where basically, because Elisha was pretty well off. He had cattle and land and things like that. And he gave all of it away so that he could go with Elijah and do what needed to be done.
Right. Yeah, he was honoring his call, whatever. And it's not to say that every person that's well off needs to sell everything and go be a prophet. Maybe that's what you're called to do.
Well, I think if you were called to give up everything that you have, then there might be something not necessarily wrong with the things you have, but your mentality about the things you have. Like what you tied into a little bit. Like, you're treating your possessions at a level more than, or what am I trying to say? You're treating your possessions to a higher degree than you would God.
Right. Yeah, you're idolizing it. That is what's first. Because at the end of the day, if it came down to it, if you had to choose, am I going to choose this mortal coil, this earthly realm, and the things that I have gathered inside of it, or am I going to give it all up and go follow God? And if there's any hang up in that, what is it? What else could you do? Is there another option? Do you have to sell everything? And if you do sell it all, who are you selling it to? What are you doing with these proceeds? But
just giving it away, basically.
So here you go, whoever you see on the street.
See, I like this. I put in my notes here of what Dave Ramsey had said.
Okay.
Which is that it's better to have the mindset that we don't own anything.
Yes.
That we're just managers.
Yeah, I like that.
So it's not yours to begin with.
Yeah. Literally, like this forest you have here. You are called to.
I am a steward of this land.
Exactly.
I am not. I mean, legally speaking, I do own the property, but
he's got a piece of paper that says so.
Yeah, a piece of paper from the government.
Thanks, big bro.
But yeah, I am just a steward of this, and I must do my best to keep it.
Yeah.
And you can see Jesus play an example of this after his resurrection. Where did they find him? In the garden. Mm-hmm. He was weeding the garden, taking care of it, doing what he needed to be done. In the moment after coming out of the tomb, that was the most important thing that he thought that he needed to be doing.
And it's interesting, like how much of an impact that has, like, because we're talking about it right now. And in that moment when his disciple, who was it that found him? Do you remember? I don't know.
Oh, I don't remember off the top of my head, because I know the two servant girls had seen the tomb was empty, and then they ran out and went and told some people. But I think it was his disciples, wasn't it? It was
maybe 3 of them or something like that. I wish I knew.
I don't know.
I haven't got to the New Testament yet. Okay, I'm in First Chronicles right now, people. I'm getting there. I'm gonna continue to read the Bible over and over until I know it all.
Until I know it all.
It's Jesus going into the garden and being found there and doing what he was doing is such a powerful parable, a powerful story that we can, it's no matter what, he was always taking care of something. He was always grooming whatever he was around, trying to enhance it and make it something better than it was.
As long as you enter a place and you come out of it with the place being like
benefited,
like you leave it either the same or better than when you came in the first place.
Right. Don't leave work for other people.
Yeah. What was it? I have a quote or a verse from Deuteronomy here.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18, that says, "You shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the power to build wealth. That he may confirm his covenant that he swore to your fathers as it is this day." Meaning that God wants us to build wealth. We can't take care of the poor. We can't take care of the sick and the orphans, the widows, as the Bible calls us to do in the Old Testament a lot. That God's people are often, they're always called to do such thing. We have to take care of people. You can't do that if you're broke.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean just cash either. Whatever resources you have, you have to have some kind of resource in order to help people. Maybe it's faith, though. I mean, there's our good friend Charlie. I feel like the level of faith that he has is so inspirational, and the depth of his knowledge of the Word is amazing. And
I kind of do envy people that can do that, just on the spot, pull out a scripture and just tell a whole story about it.
Yeah, and it's anytime we're talking to him, we meet, pretty often throughout the month, each month, but about once a week, a group of us, the elite men of Hohenwald. We get together and we're going through a pretty awesome book right now called An Orphan No More, by Rocky Fleming. It's a great read. It's so much in there that's powerful. But getting back to Charlie's ability to have this faith, got being attacked today. If you notice trails of smoke in the air, we're burning some incense. It's got rosemary and citronella, makes them avoid us.
I think it's doing a relatively good job, because we have not had the bugs flying in our ears.
Yeah, I mean, I was shooting it directly into my ear earlier. We have some of the good stuff in a can as well, bug repellent. But back to Charlie.
Back to Charlie.
Charlie, the faithful man. That resource that he has is a wealth of knowledge and faith, and I have to say, all the people in my life right now, the community that I have played a huge role in getting to me where I'm at spiritually. Like just in the past year, I've gone through this huge transition, and it's because of the people in my circle, that I'm deliberately choosing to spend time with. So whatever it is that you have, whatever resource that God has given to you, you need to share it, and you're going to feel good when you do. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. It is. It's how we take care of each other. And another interesting thing I heard recently is the context of this was a father talking to his child, and the child was upset because her sibling had more cereal in her bowl than she did, and said, "Man, you got more than I have. That's not fair." And her father said to her, let's get this straight right now, okay? In life, you can always pick out and point out things that you think are unfair. But if you spend your time doing that, you're going to be miserable. Instead of looking into someone's bowl and thinking about, do I have as much as they have? The only reason you should be looking in someone else's bowl is to see, do they have enough? Are they able to take care of themselves? And if not, is there something I can do to help them? If not, then you can find somebody. You can make people aware if they're not already. But I thought that was a really good thing. And the earlier we teach our kids to be stewards to each other and to the land, to the animals, that's a huge part of it. You get so much fulfillment, at least I do, out of looking after things, even the smallest things like bugs. I
have a good example of this, actually. So a couple of friends of ours are down in Florida or whatnot, and charged us with taking care of their homestead while they were gone. They're basically at the point that we wish we were at right now.
On your way.
Yeah, on our way. We're almost there. We're getting there. But they have a fully built, fully furnished house, but they have I think like 4 goats, they got a couple pigs, they got a dozen chickens, a couple ducks,
nice.
like all of these things. Just every day, we have to do stuff to take care of them at least twice a day. We gotta milk goats. That's actually been really nice, is that they said, because you have to milk them, otherwise they'll get sick and things like that. So they have to be pulled. But gotta
get that milk out.
Yeah, they were like, well, we'll be gone and whatnot, so just take all of the goat's milk you want. And we were like, hey, that's pretty cool. We get about 16 ounces every milking, so we get like 32 ounces a day essentially, just from one goat.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's wild.
It's pretty wild. Kayla made ice cream last night out of the goat's milk. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Was pretty good.
It was pretty good. She and it was funny because we had a little bit of coffee left over in the pot, so she made it vanilla and coffee flavored. Ooh, it was super good. It was super good. But
that's a nice resource to have right there.
Yeah, because right now I'm not in a position to where I can be on the property doing what I need to be doing all day. I still need to obviously work and pay bills and things like that. So I have a full-time job. Yep. And being out there, I wish that I could be here all the time, but just being out there and doing those chores every day, there is such a satisfying feeling that I get, a good fulfillment from it. I would love to be doing this professionally. Everything about this work is 100% for my benefit.
And the benefit of anybody. It's, if you're just doing enough so that you can take care of your family, awesome. But a lot of times in those situations, you end up having more than you need.
Oh, so,
yeah.
Then sharing with the community.
Right.
I mean, we get that all the time around here. We don't have, we built the chicken tractor, but we don't have too many chickens. Yeah, we have one rooster and one hen. That's what we got so far. So I mean, hopefully they'll get broody, and they'll just give us. Yeah, they'll give us all of our chickens, but you know, time will tell.
Give it time.
Shoot, what was I saying? I went off topic.
Sharing the resources.
Oh yeah, about just the people that surround us or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, so we moved down here. We have not paid for eggs since we moved down here, just because so many people around us have chicken. Like just right up the road here, there's an elderly couple that live. They got, I think it's like 24 chickens or something like that. Wow. They come. They stop by every time. They give us a whole 18-pack. They're like, we got eggs coming out of our ears. They're like, here you go. We're like, sweet. And they're just farm fresh. They feed them organically, just whatever. It's great. Cool. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, we've been thinking about getting chickens for a while now. It's awesome that you guys got the setup you have, and hopefully they get their brood on soon.
Oh yeah.
Is there a certain time of year that's supposed to happen?
That I don't know. I don't know much about. I don't know much about it. I didn't research it too much. I'm just like, yeah, chickens. Let's go.
Let's do it.
But
well, that's good.
I'm sure Kayla knows.
Yes.
Kayla knows a lot of that stuff. She's been watching all kinds of stuff about the homesteading, like the gardening and the animal care and whatnot. Like she's been focused, like just super into that for the last like 5-6 years.
Wow.
Like just always watching all the YouTube videos, reading all the stuff, reading all the books and everything about it. Yeah.
See, and she's gathering the resource of knowledge to be able to pour that into taking care of herself and her family and community.
We often joke about it, how she's the brains, I'm the brawn. Like she comes up with the plan and I execute it. That's good. Works pretty well. It's a good team dynamic.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, it's so fulfilling to be able to put effort into growing a garden or taking care of animals or whatever it is that's ultimately returning to you something that's going to sustain you. Anything in life can become an idol, and it's something that you put most of your focus, most of your ambition toward. And if it's not God, then you're going to set yourself up for failure ultimately. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say things that become idols tend to have to do when we find ourselves living too much in the flesh.
Yes.
When we're not living in the spirit
and
enough.
Out of fear.
Yes, and out of fear. And cultural norms.
Sure.
Cultural boundaries, the simpleness of feeling like you're going to be left out if you don't follow suit.
FOMO, baby.
Yeah.
It's real. Fear of missing out.
But yeah, like Colossians 3:5, that put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you, sexual immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and covetousness, which is idolatry.
Yes. And this brings up something I've been wrestling with for a while, which I think I know the answer to, but interested to hear your perspective.
Okay.
And all you lovely humans out there. Is all sin equal? Or are there certain things that we may do that would be like, well, that's more sinful? Or on the scale of the spectrum of sin, some things are going to put you further away from God. And maybe that's a personal thing. Certain things that each person does is going to be harder, but in the eyes of God is all sin equal. And it's just...
I think that yes, in the eyes of God, all sin is equal. Mm-hmm. Because sinning just does one thing: separates you from God.
Right. Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
Doesn't matter what it is. Essentially, it separates you from God. But yeah, like you can do, like we can put it in our box, mm-hmm. on our human minds and our earthly ways, and just say like, oh, it's okay because at least I didn't murder somebody, or it's okay because at least I didn't cheat on my wife, or something like that. But
own it though.
You still in other ways miss the mark.
Yeah, and if you don't acknowledge that and say, you know what, that was wrong, I shouldn't have done that. I want to do better next time.
And that's the point of that. That's repentance. Right. When you recognize it and you say, I'm going to do better next time.
Don't make excuses and be like, well, at least it wasn't this, because that's even, you're justifying it and kind of settling it inside of yourself. You're not giving it up. You're not letting go of it.
Yeah.
You're holding on to it. Yeah. You got to let go. You got to, that's where the majority of my misery, fear, any discomfort comes from, is just holding on to all of these, whether they're negative or positive. It's like, even if you have success with something, if you just grab that and hold on to that and all you're focused on is, ooh, I can't wait till I feel that again because that was great. Mm-hmm. You're going to be misguided either way, positive or negative. Everything has to be surrendered. Acknowledge it and let it go.
Yeah. Because, holding on to anything like that, it does inevitably lead you, even if it's a good thing, does inevitably lead you down the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. Down the wrong path. Just like that snake coming at us. Maybe it was the right path for him. It was the wrong path for us. We intervened, and he chose another path.
We had a discussion.
Yeah.
And he said, okay.
Or maybe it was a girl. I don't know.
Who knows?
He, she. It was a snake.
So hard to tell with snakes.
It's a beautiful snake. Yeah, so hard to tell these days. Is that what you said?
Well, I said with snakes, but you could say that too.
It's an interesting world we live in. But yeah, I think that the same as we talked about in an earlier episode, we all are called to be something, and that something is unique to each of us, and it's unique because we each have unique skills and abilities and blessings. To get caught up in feeling like you're left out or not enough because you're not like this person or that person is really easy to do. That happens to me a lot too. I spend time with somebody that, like, man, I wish I was more like that. And then you beat yourself up and pity yourself. Rather than doing that, that's another thing to let go of. But I find that when I'm having these moments of despair, something that's really helpful is go do something that you're good at for 5 to 10 minutes, whatever it might be. For me, something that really helps is writing something down, creating something that didn't exist before, at least from my perspective. I like to write, like I said, so I'll go write a short poem about whatever, and then it just takes a couple minutes to do something. Doesn't have to be perfect or for any specific purpose. It's just to remind you that you can do something. It's not about what this person is and what you're unable to do in their when you're comparing yourself to them. Focus on what you're good at, and when you give that time and space, it'll develop and you'll feel more fulfilled in your life. But figuring that out, again, is a really challenging thing because we're all led down the same types of paths, and especially in our society. It's all about gathering wealth as often as possible. Back when I was an Uber driver, I would always talk with people and try to get conversations going. Sometimes people didn't want to talk, so I'd leave them alone. But if they did, a lot of times we get into this discussion of what are you passionate about? What do you like to do? And what are you doing right now? Most of the time, and this was in the Bay Area of San Francisco, everybody there was working on something, and they chose that field or that position because that they knew that they could make a lot of money doing that. And that is the guiding force for so many people these days. They're not doing it because it's something that they have a natural talent for, but maybe they do. Maybe there's aspects of it that they are, because you're not going to end up in a position that you have no skill with, but the level of fulfillment that you're going to get out of it is limited if you're doing it for a reason that's ultimately hollow. Just gathering money for what? What's the point of that? If it's to enhance the world around you, that's a good thing. But anyway, the choosing what you do in life, I wish, and I think it comes back to our education system a lot of times, which, like the public school system, isn't really preparing kids to understand themselves and how to operate in the world. It's how to operate within the system that exists here and how to be good consumers, really, at the end of the day. Trying to train up our children to understand what they're passionate about, to understand what they're gifted with, I think is one of the most powerful things that we can do, because my belief, and a lot of the reason why I was asking all these people this thing is, like I've stated before, I really want to understand. I believe that everybody has something that they can offer that is unique to them. They can do it, and the way they do it, the way they say it, the way they paint it, whatever it might be, that is specific to a certain group of people, or maybe even just one person. It's going to unlock something inside of them to allow them to accept who they are, to accept God into their life, and this ripple effect. The more that we are being what we're called to be and building ourselves in that direction, the more we're going to impact other people, and the more they're going to do that, and then we've got paradise. But there's always going to be challenges, and it seems like there's a lot working against us to limit us from finding what our strengths are. And again, it goes back to the current system. Like, seems like it's designed to suppress people and divide us. And the more divided we are, and the more we feel bad about ourselves, the more isolated we are, the less we're able to accomplish in the end. So, find your people.
Find your people.
Find your people. Easier said than done, but
yeah.
It's taken me 37 years to even really embark on that. So I did a lot of it in my head, but thought is good, but action is where you tell your story. And the story that we're telling is what inspires people. It's what inspires us. It's what encourages us to keep going. Something that I've said a lot, and that's helped me with all the various addictions I've had in my life. It's easy to do what you're doing, to keep doing what you're doing. So if every day you're drinking a 12-pack or whatever it might be, then yeah, it's easy to keep doing that. But as you switch that to something else, like right now, it's easy for me to not drink anything because that's what I've been doing for years now. And I feel like that's, we're definitely creatures of habit. So
absolutely. This actually is a good example, because I've been dealing with this a little bit. One of my coworkers on where I work, he's kind of at that point, he's in a situation that's not exactly ideal for anybody to be living in. Like, it's what was it? He's living in a beat up, rundown trailer. Like, we're talking holes in it, bugs, all this type of stuff. Just not good. Like, landlord refuses to fix it or do anything about it. This dude is paying like $1,600 a month in rent for it.
What?
And he continues to live there. And it's one of those things. It's because it's easier for, and I've tried to talk to him about this, try to help him a little bit, and like even offer him like other things. But he doesn't want to make the choice to do something different. He doesn't want to make the choice to get better. And that's precisely it, is because creature of habit. It's easier to keep doing the same thing than it is to do something different. And just seeing this from a third person perspective, it's like, wow, like you can really put yourself in a mentality to where you find any situation acceptable simply because you've been here.
Right. And that's what is the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
Yeah. So if you think you're going to get ahead by doing what you're doing, and are you where you want to be right now, or do you want to be somewhere else? Mm-hmm. You can't keep doing the same things. You have to make changes, and change is hard, man.
That's because it's that problem that like every solution to a problem you have generates like 10 new problems. Yeah. It's like a hydra. You know, you cut off one head and 10 more grow.
Yep.
It's definitely the same thing. Like, he's in this spot right now, but he thinks that if he attempts to solve this problem, then it's going to create 10 new problems, which it technically will. Like, how are you going to get to where your new location is, because he doesn't have a car or a license.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little bit harder for him. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why I hang out with him a lot, because I give him rides.
Ah, yeah.
And so, yeah, like solving this problem of your living situation would create a new one of like, well, where are you going to live after you leave? How are you going to get from one place to another after you change locations?
Right.
Like, are there even any other places available? You got to ask. You got to branch out. Right. You got to look.
Yeah.
You're going to get rejected.
Yeah.
That's another thing, too, is like a lot of the times people are going to be like, I don't think it's a good fit for you. A lot of times people do just get rejected. So
it's hard.
Yeah. It's hard, but it's worth it. That's the thing. It's like the long-term pain that you're experiencing right now.
Right.
If you just experience this short instance of greater pain,
yes,
you'll have much relief later.
And it's very hard to make changes in isolation. You need community, you need support to lean on. So I don't know what I guess I would love to have a good answer for this. I'm trying to think of if somebody didn't have a community or a close circle of friends they know have their best interests in mind. How would you find that? I mean, a lot of people use churches, but I would say it comes back to what you're passionate about. You know, there's a lot of different community centers that offer all sorts of things. Volunteer programs are really good because usually the people that are involved with those sorts of things have a good heart. They're looking to help other people. So,
I think... Oh, that stick just fell out of nowhere. We're being attacked by the trees. But, I think definitely getting involved.
Yes,
it doesn't matter. Get involved with something, anything.
And it'll lead to something else. And
exactly.
You grow that. You got to get a network somewhere. And what is it? Facebook, X, all these different platforms. I'm sure you could find a local whatever that you're into. And even if it's an online group of people, that's something. That's a valid community. That's a good first step. But nothing beats face-to-face.
Yeah, like physical doing stuff.
And that's hard. I didn't want to do that for a long time. I spent so much of my life avoiding other people as often as I could because it's weird, especially you don't know them. Like, I don't know who you are. I don't want to try and know you. I just want to think about my brain thoughts. And
but just think about how strange that concept might be too, because if you go back to not just our parents but like our grandparents, like they knew their neighbors, they knew everybody around them.
They had to, like that. If they didn't, they wouldn't survive. You know, we live in a very isolating time. Everything is designed right now to keep us in our home. And I think that's intentional. It goes back to
you're in a city like San Francisco, like where you came from. You're in an apartment building. You got literally a person on all sides of you, and you have no idea who they are.
Right. Yeah.
And it's crazy because they're the closest that people are like in the closest spaces that they've ever been in, but yet they have no idea who they are. And then way out here, we have literally like hilltops upon hilltops separating me from my neighbors, and we know who everybody is.
Yeah. That's good. I need to be better at that. The neighborhood that I live in, I don't know everyone that's there. I'm still, I could go out and knock on everybody's door and be like, hi, I've lived here for 4 years. How are you doing?
Yeah, and all it is like, just curious.
I'm here, yeah.
Like, hey,
come by if you need anything. And anytime I have interactions, I'm always friendly and personable. I'm not like, go away, leave me alone. I'm happy to
have the conversation if it's initiated.
Right, but I don't go out of my way seeking strangers. I don't know that you have to. I mean, you do. Not that what I'm suggesting is for me to go out and acknowledge the existence of all of my neighbors, which I think is a good thing.
I think what was funny in our case is I don't think we ever actually really had to branch out to meet people. Like we never had to actually like leave our driveway in order to meet a neighbor, because they would just be driving by, they'd see us and they'd stop, say hi.
Right.
You know, like it's that type of thing.
Hey, you're new here.
At least around here in this particular area, that's the case. Oh, and then you get on that first name basis with your neighbors, and then they introduce you to the other neighbors. Mm-hmm. Like it was through Todd and Sherry that we had met Brian and Sydney.
Okay.
The people that we're currently house sitting for. So it was, it's one of those. We probably would have had no idea that they existed, because they're like way north on the other side of Todd and Sherry's property. So.
Mm-hmm. And that's how it happens, though. I mean, just knowing one other person, making a connection with one other person is going to open you up to be connected with who they're connected to, if you continue being open to it. If you close yourself off and be like, well, who's going to be there? Oh, I don't know them, I'm not going to go. Embrace the unknown. Mm-hmm. That's
imagine back in the, well, I want to say like 80s, 90s, this is what made house parties fun.
Yeah.
You didn't know who was going to, well, I mean, you probably had some idea who was going to be there, but there were going to be people you had no idea.
Yeah.
But that was part of the fun of it.
That's a good idea, because I'm a part of this group chat for our neighborhood. We should just throw a party. I mean, our kids are going to be having a birthday party pretty soon here. So just be like, hey, whoever wants to come, be good to meet you. If we haven't already, everybody's welcome. And that's the way I feel and I approach anything in my life. I'm very open and transparent with anything that comes my way, but I'm not just going out trying to find stuff all the time. Sometimes I am, but most of the time I feel like I'm on a specific path, and whatever comes into contact with that, I'm going to give it everything I can, meaning my attention, because it's there. There's a reason why this came up. And that can be really hard, especially having 5 children, because a lot of stuff comes up.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Just have one now, but I'm getting there.
There's no shortage of adventures to be had. Just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other and be open to new opportunities and see what you can do to be helpful. And maybe being helpful is being quiet when there's a lot of chaos going on, or otherwise. But I don't know. People say not to follow your heart.
Your heart can lead you astray.
But I feel like following your heart to a degree is a good thing. Not just 100% be like, well, this is how I feel, this is what I'm going to do. You have to take captive every thought and understand why that thought or feeling is coming up, and is it something that's going to lead you into a useful place for yourself and for other people, or is it going to lead you to a harmful place for yourself and other people?
See, I would say give a little pushback there.
Yeah.
Maybe don't follow your heart,
right,
but follow the Spirit.
There we go.
Let the Spirit in.
Yes.
Pray about it.
Yeah.
Let the Spirit come through, and whatever the Spirit is guiding you towards.
And is that, I guess that's what I mean by it, but I did not package it that way, because I operate off of compulsions a lot of the time, and for the most part I ignore them, especially because it's like, oh, that's inconvenient, I don't want to do that right now, but I feel compelled to do something. I've been struggling a lot with my morning routine. I like to get up early, go for a walk, read the Bible, listen to the Bible while I'm walking, get some exercise. I carry around this 20-pound bar and just do crazy stuff with it while I'm walking.
Paddle through the air.
Yeah, paddle through the air. Do some
ninja stuff.
Whatever, be that cool guy on the street wearing headphones, dancing around with a 20-pound pole. You know the guy. We've all seen him.
You know the guy. This time, I'm not homeless.
Aha! Yeah, that's right. I don't know, but I'm struggling with that routine. I'm trying to package a lot into these almost 2 hours of time, fellowshipping with God, strengthening my body, getting up and being proactive about my day. There's so much about that that's really beneficial. And my alarm goes off in the morning, and every day I'm weighing it. I'm like, am I going to do this today or not? I'd rather sleep. And I've been getting into that rather sleep probably 70% of the time.
Well, if we go into the neurological aspect of that, the reason why that happens is because like new ideas or thoughts they're basically different connections in your brain for the signals to go through. So,
right.
When you let a pathway that connected itself to have a thought, when you let that pathway win, it grows stronger.
Right.
So you're more likely that's
right.
a lot of kind of like psychologically and neurochemistry about like addictions and how they form.
Yes.
And things like that. Like basically, if you travel the same path with a wheelbarrow, you're going to dig a rut.
Right.
And that's the same concept there with that, is that when you tell you have this little itty bitty voice in your head that tells you, hey, maybe you should just sleep more, and then you give into that, that connection, that pathway becomes stronger because that's the one you went with.
Exactly.
You basically rewarded it,
yes,
and it grew stronger because of it, and then you denied the other one, so it grew weaker. Right. Now it's going to be a little bit harder next time when you have that same thought.
Well, that's I saw something recently about that broke it down in a similar way, and it was like, man, this is awesome. I haven't thought about it that way. I think it was an Arnold Schwarzenegger quote. I can't quote him specifically, but it was just about what you were saying. And it's when you are trying to be disciplined with something, your brain's going to give you all these reasons why you shouldn't do it. You have to stop listening and just push through it and do it, because eventually it'll become habit. It's just what you do. But right now, what I do is sleep instead of get up and go. And I had a little bit of time there where I was getting up and going, and no matter what I was going, rain or shine. I actually love going out for a walk when there's like thunderstorms. I know it's not a great idea.
Especially carrying around an iron pole, yeah.
It's not a great idea, but there's nothing...
It's okay, I'm wearing rubber boots.
Yeah, the rubber touches the road. It's fine. It's but I'm on my way over here today, actually. I was wrestling with that and like, all right, I have to stop thinking about it. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to get up and do it every day, no matter what. And I get up and do it. And it's...
Especially if you can convince yourself that what you're doing it for is something that's greater than what you're missing out on, which is that extra sleep. If you believe wholeheartedly that what you're doing by waking up early is better, more beneficial for you, then it does also become easier mentally to deal with that choice.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. Like I've been loving doing these homestead chores, right? And that's the thing. Like I'll wake up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, just my alarm goes off once, I'm right out of bed because I'm like, I want to go milk the goat.
Right. Wait, milk that goat.
I gotta feed the pigs. Let's go. Yep. So
that's awesome.
It's something better for me than sleeping in.
Yeah, exactly. Something to look forward to, and it
excites me in a way that sleep doesn't. At least right now.
Well, so something that happened one of these times when I woke up, for a while I was getting up and going, and I had a good run of that. And one day I got up and I had this impulse like, well, don't do that. So I stayed and I slept and had this dream. And I think it was one that I had spoken about previously, where I had that vision of somebody with this apparition off of their shoulder, this other head, is like demons or something. And it's like, so if I wouldn't have slept, I wouldn't have had that dream. So was that dream something that I needed to help me further my walk spiritually? Or is that actually going to hold me back? Or is that like something that's like, ooh, maybe here's this, because you didn't go for a walk, the enemy wants me to feel like you should stay, you should just stay, and you'll have these, you're still going to get something.
Then you had a dream of somebody with a demon on their shoulder, and then you're like, do I have a demon on my shoulder? You know, like,
right.
Am I making bad choices?
Yeah, there you go. So it's interesting. I don't know. I feel like no matter whatever situation you find yourself in, there's something beneficial that can come out of it. But if you're trying to make a change in your life, if you're trying to create a better situation for yourself, you have to honor that. You have to push for it, and that's something that I'm determined to do at this point. Is get that morning routine down, fellowship with God, further my knowledge of the Word, and strengthen my body. Doing all those things at the same time. So it needs to be done. And
looks like we're running out of time here. We should probably
it's burning down.
It's burning. Our insulin's getting low.
It's getting low, folks.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us on another adventure in the creek. We look forward to seeing you again soon. God is good.
Yes.
Prayer is powerful, and we all have the ability to call on His strength. He is our Father, after all. Thanks, Daddy.